South African women are exiting their businesses at a higher rate than they are starting and running businesses, indicating that they need more support in growing startups to an established stage of more than 3.5 years. Now, this is a key finding of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor South Africa report 2023 and 2024 by Stellenbosch Business School on women entrepreneurship here in South Africa. And to further unpack this, let's extend a very warm welcome to Professor Natanya Meyer, Associate Professor at the University of Johannesburg. So, Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Great having you with us. We're still celebrating Women's Month, although the final stages. So, for the benefit of our viewers, if you can briefly just outline what the GME is all about and why South Africans, particularly women looking into venturing into the world of entrepreneurship, should actually pay attention to some of its data.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, especially on this fabulous August month of women. And we specifically brought out this report focusing on everything around entrepreneurship on women, of course, to celebrate women. Unfortunately, some of the figures aren't as fabulous as we would want them to see, but I believe there's always hope. So I think if I can start off based on your statement that you made that, yes, South African businesswomen are exiting their businesses at a higher rate than what they are starting new businesses. I think let me just give some background on what this means and how we actually measure this. Just to also get back, the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor is a consortium of various countries in the world that actually measure several variables pertaining to entrepreneurship across different countries. And this has been done for the last 25 years. So we've got really very trustworthy data over a long trend, so we could see and can see what has happened to entrepreneurship within the various countries, over a long trend. So that's very helpful. But getting back to your statement about women leaving businesses at a higher rate than they actually start, I think I just want to go one step back and explain the different phases that we measure entrepreneurship in. So firstly, there's intention. That is where you just have intent to start a business, but you haven't actually. Of course, this rate is normally quite high because there's no risk associated with it. You haven't actually started. Then we get what we call the nascent stage, which is those who just started and they are under 3 months old. So they literally just opened their doors and started selling their products or services. And then the next category, which we call the new business rate, that is from 3 months to 3.5 years. And that is actually the startup phase. So this is where most businesses, unfortunately, also fail because of various reasons. And this rate, if we look at splitting it between men and women, women are 4.5% categorized in this rate. And the discontinuous rate for businesses, women businesses, is standing at 5.1%. So that's higher. So if you do the math, eventually if more women exit businesses, then being in this category of the startup phase, eventually we won't have fewer and fewer women-driven businesses in South Africa.
And then, Prof, does the report actually outline why these women actually exit, of course, their businesses at such a young and critical stage where they should basically be building it?
Yes, so all the businesses that remark that they actually left or exited, we do ask them what are the reasons that they left. Now, there's about 7 or 8 reasons that we give them to choose from. Some might have more than one of these reasons, of course. And then what we also do is we split this up into positive and negative reasons. Now, let me just start with the positive reasons. So firstly, another business opportunity. So when you have another opportunity to leave your business, it's not necessarily bad because you might close the one but start another one. The next one is another job. This might also not be bad. Although you might be closing your business, you will not be unemployed after that. And then the last one, opportunity to sell the business for a profit, which is also positive because if you could sell it, it means someone else will continue the business. Now, for these 3 categories, we see that men are doing much or leaving businesses for much higher rates than women in these 3 positive categories. But when we look at the negative categories, and this is the one that stands out most for me, women are almost at double the rate than men leaving their business for family or personal reasons. And of course, this is concerning. This means that they're not getting the correct support they need to be able to run and establish these businesses.
Very interesting indeed, Prof, because I see there's an outline there on issues that are pertained in the Global Entrepreneurship report, Monitor report there. Issues like entrepreneurial finance, the ease of access to entrepreneurial finance, government policy support and relevance. So all the basic building blocks that these women or entrepreneurs across the sphere might actually need are actually contained there. So Global Entrepreneurial Week is taking place in November with an aim to, of course, encourage as well as inspire people from all walks of life. And I emphasize once again, from all walks of life to consider entrepreneurship as a way of financial independence. But Professor, we know in a country like South Africa where unemployment figures are significantly high, especially among youth and most notably women, this is not something that anyone with just a vision can actually achieve. There are still intensive systems in place as well as bureaucracy that often leads people away instead of catering and providing the necessary assistance to these business owners in order to thrive once they're in the sector. So what can the industry then, how can the industry in a way address this injustice?
Yeah, I think what you are saying is very important, and I think we need to remember that although this report is focused on women and the challenges they face, it's not just women in South Africa that face challenges when you look at entrepreneurship. It's all or most SMMEs. Although, you know, this is now Women's Month, so the report was on women, and it seems like they have a little bit more challenges than men. But when we look at entrepreneurship in general and what needs to be in place for entrepreneurs to firstly start, thrive, and survive, these are the three things we normally look at. You need to start first, and that you need intention. Then you need to thrive, to grow and scale up. And then, of course, survive so you don't discontinue or end or cease doing business. And for that, we look at what we call the entrepreneurial ecosystem or entrepreneurial framework conditions. And there you very correctly listed a few of them already, which was you need finance, there needs to be government policy, so stable policy. People need to know what's happening in the country and how policy supports them. There needs to be education, and I think this is one that's really, really lacking, not only in South Africa, but also in other countries. There's not enough entrepreneurial education starting at a young age, primary school level, where kids are learned to think like an entrepreneur, have a mindset of an entrepreneur, see opportunities, take risks, be a problem solver. And we need to remember this isn't only characteristics that is needed for a good business. If you have these characteristics, it will help you in life as well, even if you're in an employed position. Other things is culture. I think South Africa really still in some of the cultural groups are not doing so well, especially when it comes to women, because a lot of women are still seen as the traditional housewife or childbearing person looking after the kids, and that we do see. And I think that if these ecosystem factors or variables can be changed or enhanced, obviously stuff like infrastructure, bureaucracy, leadership, these also fall in that. But in all of those categories, South Africa is performing below average. And this needs to change because this will change the landscape where businesses find themselves in and automatically improve the sustainability of businesses.
Absolutely, Professor. I mean, the issues of cultural embargoes, if we can call it that, is quite a concern in South Africa because I don't think most sectors or industry actually cater to this aspect of things. And women are often breadwinners in their homes, right? And also bear the bulk of work due to their socio-economic backgrounds as well as challenges. They have to then eke out a living under dire straits due to inequality as well as lack of access to quality education, as we've just mentioned, information, as well as fundamental resources. So they're already at odds even before they start any business or discriminated against on basics as well as critical things like your funding. I mean, how important that the industry then caters exclusively for the needs of women in the entrepreneurial sector, Professor?
Yes, I think this is very important because often, and I'm not saying this is general in all agencies or organizations that borrow money or invest in women businesses, but often, because of the stigmatization and stereotypical thoughts about women, that they have less collateral, that they are household-headed women, that they do come maybe with less education than men. Often this, I think, preemanates what the decisions might be for lenders or investors to actually invest in these women-owned companies. The other thing is also, and I don't think we also always need to, just look on the investment side that women aren't getting financed, often because of lack of skills level, lack of belief in yourself, that thing that we all know women are more risk averse than men. That also leads to often that women don't actually take the risk and apply for these type of projects or funds or investment opportunities or programs. There's so many things out there. So I think it goes both ways. I think that we need to really look into sculpting some of these existing programs and initiatives to be more women-centered or women-friendly, if I can put it like that. But we also need to get women to believe more in themselves and really try and take up opportunities that are there, because there are quite a lot of opportunities within the private sector and the government sector to assist women entrepreneurs and women in general.
And we know the other saying, Professor, is there that women do not like to work together or collaborate. So in order to bridge some of these gaps, it's going to take quite a lot of work, especially from us, if we are going to make a mark in the entrepreneurial fields. Thank you so much, Professor, for your contributions this afternoon. Professor Natanya Meyer, the Associate Professor at the University of Johannesburg.